Alright, so this is going to be the third and final installment of the Never Trust a Smiling Cat series. Just doing my part to enlighten the world about these incompetent, negligent, unethical clinicians, prescribers, and the related field of psychopharmacology, okay? I will do my best to keep this at about 30 minutes or so, alright? And, sorry, parts 1 and 2 went a bit long. I was going to redo them, but I just said the hell with it, alright? And so I have some additional information, and I wanted to tie up some loose ends from those first two parts. So, and I'm also going to be looking at my notes while I'm speaking to you, alright? But, again, just to clarify the way I kind of touched upon part 2, going back to 98, 99, with the Zyprexa thing, it should be noted, okay, I was not the one to initiate dialogue about possibly going on antipsychotic. Okay, that was her idea. Okay, so let the record be straight about that. Okay, now according to her clinical gospel notes, okay, so apparently, there was some discussion, and like I said in part 2, I honestly don't recall this, but maybe there was discussion, and like I said, that this was part of her clinical strategy based on her observations. It's like, oh, this guy would make a great candidate for an antipsychotic, right? Yeah, well, the rest is history, of course. And let me see here. So like I said, one other thing I want to say about that March of 99 is that it's kind of weird because she had mentioned, in the notepad she was writing on, Zyprexa 5 milligrams ordered, as I said in part 2. But what is also a bit, just a bit weird, is that there is kind of like a stickum note attached to that page of the same date, again saying the same thing. Zyprexa 5 milligrams ordered. Okay, so to tell you the truth, it doesn't. The handwriting doesn't look the same. I don't know. It could have been her secretary's handwriting. I don't know. It could have been hers, just writing it in a more rapid pace or fashion. I don't know, but no, I'm just throwing out a bit of a conspiracy theory of perhaps a few years ago, after she was advised that I filed a complaint, maybe she just wrote the stickum and slapped it on there, and predating it, or just dating it to the same date of the appointment. Who knows? Who knows? And likewise, again, I don't know what else to say about this, situation dating back to 98, 99. But again, it's like, I cannot emphasize this enough. Whatever gets written down, okay, it's like you cannot dispute it. Okay, that's, I like to call that's the official record. You can dispute it all you want. Nobody's going to listen to you. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. And just to give you a few other examples, at browsing at all the clinical notes through the years. Again, this is
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured chat.
right at the onset, dating back to here it is, May 22nd of 1995. Okay, two mistakes right off the bat, or maybe three. Again, just to show you, either she has a serious hearing problem or a comprehension problem or whatever. But and of course, keep in mind. Let me see. So, like I said, that was 1995. So she would have been 50, maybe 50, almost 51. And of course, one time I remember, just to show you what kind of a cunt she is. I was telling about somebody else I know, and who was in her 50s, and she said, "Oh well, when I reach my 50s, okay," and she was already in her early 50s. Okay. Anyway, let me just a few other things here. Okay. So according to her notes, based upon what I allegedly told her, okay, but of course she's not, she's not doing an accurate job here. And of course, this is what I formulated the whole complaint on. There were mistakes, one over another, okay, but who am I to argue with the authority, right? Claims that I was the second of 4 children. Wrong. I was the third, not the second. I had, back in the 80s, I had worked at a company, and sure enough, she got the name of the city wrong. She put the name of an adjacent city that doesn't even sound like the place where I worked. Okay, another screw up. On the medication front, again, cracks me up. She says. Again, this is all the initial, in that initial time frame, in May, June '95, and because I had been, again, on Imipramine and Klonopin since '91, and so she claims I'm taking on the Klonopin 0.5 milligrams BID, which means twice a day, right? Wrong. I was taking half a tablet twice a day, not a full tablet twice a day. Okay. What a fucking cunt. And you see, you're trusting your health into their supposedly capable hands, and then you wonder why you get screwed. And these people don't understand why you get pissed off with them, okay? And try to legally go after them, and they don't get it because they're a bunch of narcissistic assholes. Okay. So I've written a bunch of notes here anyway. Maybe, a couple other things to let you know about. More of her, clinical misunderstandings. Back in 1997, my mother was going through a health scare issue, and heart related, so PsychoCunt asked me if my mother had smoked. Well, according to PsychoCunt's notes, my mother smoked, but that's funny because, wow, I knew and lived my mother my whole life, and she never smoked her entire life. Just like me, 2 avid non-smokers. But PsychoCunt that says that my mother smoked. Again, I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, Gendron. All right, so, and then I can tell you, I'll honestly tell you that there were like 2 or 3 times I more or less gave her the boot, either put her on notice or fired her, only to take her back because I couldn't find anybody else. Okay, just to set the record straight on that one. And again, she actually used those instances to again make me look like a totally fucked up asshole. Okay? Gotta love these goddamn clinicians, right? Language might get a bit rough again, as you know. The list continues here. In her answer to the complaint, again, early 2014, right? There were, some of you might recall that there was I'm not going. I decided on. No, there was a billing issue with Medicare. I didn't think she was playing, by the book. One of her tricks again. All right, so she claims that supposedly in that year, or in 2013 for that matter, that the something about the way that the billing is done in those clinical, clinicians, those capacities, that it changed. And she answers and justifies this. Oh well, it takes me. She says it takes 1 hour. Okay, total travel time. It's just allocate an hour to, so 30 minutes to see and 30 minutes on the way back. Right? Wrong, cunt. You see, it barely takes 15 minutes, if that. Okay, and the bulk of the trip is going 55 miles an hour. Okay, it does not take a half an hour each way to travel like 8 miles at 50 plus miles an hour. Okay, do the simple math, people. It's another fucking lie. Okay, and what a fucking cunt. I'll tell you. And then on the back on the clinical perspective, this kind of cracks me up. I can remember, again, I'm going back just about 20 years ago, around 97 or so, and I can remember me asking about the possibility of me being bipolar, right? And she, oh no, she was dismissing and giving this nice little clinical description, and no, I don't fall under that criteria. Well, so get this. So I'm looking at the notes, and then maybe 2 to 3 years after that, sure enough, she in one of her notes she says, bipolar, in her own like observation or assessment, bipolar like with a question mark. Okay, so again, fucking bitch. Okay, and I couldn't give a shit if I'm bipolar or not. It doesn't matter. Okay, I am who I am. Instead of being labeled, I'm also a self-proclaimed asshole. Okay, and on the med front, get this. You're going to love this. So again, going back to 1999. Okay. So of course that was September '99, starting on the Zyprexa. Well, so get this. I suppose this is the only one good advantage of having access to these notes, right? So 4 months later, September 2000, she suggests starting me on the antidepressant, the SSRI Celexa. Okay. Now, I mean, just think about this. Okay, just went through this major deal of doing her best to get me started on antipsychotic. And now she wants to get me on a friggin' SSRI as well. You see, there's no end. There's no end to this bullshit. Okay? And then, it was, okay, so that was January, and then it was just like a few months after that, in 2000, after advising, Celexa, I didn't react well, and I never reacted well to any SSRIs, okay? And then, oh, well, let's do Paxil, okay? And in fact, back around 97, I had tried Paxil, gave that a shot, and they didn't work. Give Paxil another shot, okay? And again, again, like I said, there is no end to this, okay? And I don't know. So let me just see here. What else are we? Wait a minute. Okay. All right, and let me just see here. Okay, but I mean, it's just, as I said, one horror story after another, and in this whole business of malpractice and such, okay. And as I have discovered, not only from my experience with her, but sadly, this has essentially been confirmed for me by the current provider. I mean, a malpractice is essentially defined as a drastic deviation from the norm of practicing medicine. So, loading people on drugs, staying them on for the rest of their lives, telling people that, and playing the psychopharmacological version of Wheel of Fortune, and spinning the wheel. I'll take Olanzapine for 1,000, please, and see, this is normal. This is the normal protocol and procedure, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, and according to both, the clinical and legal community, see, there's nothing wrong with this. All right. So, so obviously if the source of the problem and this protocol is not going to be contested, then good luck on trying to go after and nail the person prescribing this stuff, right? See, they're just going by the playbook, following the guidelines, and that's the way it works. So, and I know some, if not most of you, are intelligent enough to know that, and you don't need me, talking about this, right? So, and some more wonderful, insightful information to pass along. Again, going back, it was 2 years ago in 2015, okay, when the investigation was concluded. Now, so the jerk-off RN who handled this case, okay, and he to the best of my knowledge, would handle investigations based on complaints of people in healthcare. As I might have said in one of the early episodes, I'm not sure if it was limited to psych medicine and mental health, or if it was other fields of medicine. I don't know. However, two things to mention about him, and I had might have mentioned this back in 2014. No, but sure enough, I mean, he, so, here they are, you're living some 30 miles away, from Boston. That's where he works. Well, come to find out, he lives barely a mile away from Psycho Cunt herself. Okay? Now, that's one hell of a coincidence, huh? And to make matters worse, so about a year ago, so he leaves this job, okay? And I'm not making this up, okay? I found this online, and so leaves this job and has since taken another position with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in the Department of Mental Health. And it is some kind of like quality oversight position, looking out, about the quality of conditions and or treatment in mental health establishments or in the system and all this happy crap, right? Now, I don't know if it's just me, but that kind of sends a chill down my spine, okay? Because this was the guy who, I mean, he was the one, who reviewed the what you call evidence. That was a load of crap, and made the decision, that Psycho Bitch didn't do anything wrong, all right? So, and so now he's in a quality control capacity position with the state, in DMH. Okay, so I don't know. I just thought I'd volunteer the information, right? Because remember, as I like to say, clinicians, they keep their mouths shut, right? Yeah. And but hey, God bless the guy, right? Because well, it looks like under the state database, he's grossing about 78,000 quid. So God bless him, right? So good for him. And let's see. What else can we say here? All right, so, otherwise, okay, let me just see here. All right. I also, no, no, I also just, again, wanted to say, as many of you know, there are a variety of online resources and such. So, one I did want to mention, it's called Mad in America, and they have some pretty interesting stuff on there, online, and of course we're really one or two types of stories that get my particular attention are like when you hear about these clinicians in the field throwing in the towel, so to speak, on this field of medicine, and because they know about all the bullshit going on, and they've had it, and and for some of them it causes a ethical dilemma for them personally, and it should, and of course then once in a while they might feature like a first-hand survivor and or victim's story of psychopharmacology, and of course and what really is so disturbing is like like some of these people, I mean they're young, they're like in their 20s and such, and so some of them have been through pure hell, and they have the motivation and willpower to take control of their lives, and I'm going to touch upon that in just a second furthermore, but so I just thought I'd mention Mad in America. In the event you're not aware of it, you may wish to check it out. I'm doing on time here, okay, but and again, as I, if I haven't said in the past 4 years, okay, again, let me just say, I mean, I've never claimed, to be an expert, okay, in Zyprexa, Olanzapine withdrawal, okay. I just wanted to, get my, my story out there, okay, and again, it's not just the, about psychopharmacology, but of course the LDPs, legalized drug pushers, and how these people can live with themselves, that's beyond me. It really is. So, but and I and of course one other aspect right, okay, so a couple other things related to withdrawal or whatever, again I have again, like I said, on the sleep front, I think I opened up with this in part one. No, I mean, it's probably pushing 3,000 hours of sleep loss dating back since 2012. Still, all too often, waking up during the middle of the night, typically anywhere between 2 and 4, mind totally wired, and you know,
It's 2 o'clock.
good luck on getting back to sleep, you know. And you know, and you know, and I'm sure, I'm sure, all of this frustration and anger that I've been dealing with for the 5 years, okay, I'm sure that's contributing, okay, you know, to the insomnia, all right, and you know, and I in fact, I could just quickly tell you I'll just quickly mention and volunteer, like that word. Just a quick story about that was about a year and a half ago, back like September 2015. You know, when, as some of you know, it was the first time I in 25 years I made it back to the beach, and the wonderful thing about that, I actually had two separate trips there. You know. And this was in the early evening, and of course there's hardly anybody around, and the final time I was there, you know, I can remember there's like a jetty of rocks, you know, going perpendicular out into the ocean from the shoreline, and it's just kind of like, you know, lying back on them, you know, part in the water, part in the rocks, and for that brief time.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
No, for that brief time, you know, I mean, it was really the first true amount of like inner peace, you know, that I had experienced in, well, again, in going back to 2012, so really, you know, almost, you know, three and a half years. So, you know, so that I suppose that's one bit of rare good news, or good stories that you'll ever, you know, hear me talk about. And so I guess that means I need to either go back to the beach or spend more time outdoors, right? So, you know, but it was just a wonderful sensation, you know, of, you know, it was almost just like, you know, almost like being alone in the world, you know, and there wasn't a care or concern or worry, you know, and in fact, I remember thinking, you know, not only the weight of the world off the chest or shoulders, but it was like I felt like I could breathe, you know. So, like I said, I just thought I'd share that, all right, but you know, and otherwise, again, on the eternal quest to find something, you know, that might help me sleep. You know, again, a few things I can mention. Okay, again, as far as the infamous melatonin, you know, well, well, in recent months, okay, I have tried, and of course, keep in mind, I take the liquid eyedropper version of it, okay. I mean, the most I've taken so far now is up to like 7.5 milligrams, okay. Excuse me, but I mean, there are still times, I mean, where I might only sleep 4.5, 5 hours, you know, on 7.5 milligrams. So I mean, again, I really, I am not convinced that this is, you know, really doing anything. Yes, I have had times where I've slept maybe 6.5, but I mean, you know, but as I like to say, that doesn't cut the mustard, all right, in the sleep department. So, you know, I'll tell you, but, and likewise, as I said last June, I do very much appreciate the suggestions which come my way from some of my online friends and enemies, and you know, a couple others I can think of. That there's holy basil. That falls under the category of an adaptogen. I honestly don't know too much about that, so I'm not even going to comment about that. But but in case anybody's wondering, I mean, that didn't do anything for me. And most recent suggestion was go to Cola. That's GOTUKOLA, 2 words. And again, I've tried that, and it just doesn't seem to be doing anything. And the only thing I can otherwise mention is, of course, I do, again, going back to since 2014, okay, I have Ativan on the side, so to speak. And again, sometimes that can help. But I have to, make sure that that I take it early enough and not. I mean, if you wake up seriously, if I wake up like at 2:30 and take Ativan, or then chances are, there's a very good chance it's not gonna. It's not gonna help put me back to sleep. So. And on a semi-related note, and this is something I again discovered way back in the early '90s I know if you want to comment, feel free to do so, but specifically on I could say anything that's designed to help you sleep in the prescribing department, but even with the benzos, okay, I mean, and again, I'm going all the way back over 25 years, and I'm not sure if I ever mentioned this, in any of the videos from years ago, but regardless if it's Klonopin, Xanax, Ativan, whatever, because I've tried all 3 over these years. And it's still, I still find it, I mean, it typically takes upwards of 2 hours to kick in before I feel it, anything of a sedating nature. So, I mean, because I can think back to someone I knew, but who back in the early '90s who took a little bit of Xanax, and I can remember her telling me, like she could feel it would kick in within 15 minutes. And I was like, what? It takes almost 2 hours. And likewise, as far as the Zyprexa goes, I mean. That I mean, again, that is something, which again, I mean, well, I mean, I'm going to say, it would, on average, it could take anywhere between 2, 3, maybe 4 hours, before I would, feel it. So I don't know if this is some kind of metabolic issue or what, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a clinician, and I'm not educated enough to make these kinds of, clinical self-diagnoses, right? So, I'm trying to think, okay, but, so otherwise, just see here. Okay, 34. All right. So, otherwise, I just wanted to say, and in fact, this is something I've been meaning to say for quite a long time now, and I'm going to combine the whole thing concept of withdrawal and the whole thing of dealing with clinicians and psych medicine and all this happy crap. Okay. And like I said, this is perhaps one of the most powerful things I might have said now in 4 years, and it's taken me all this time to connect the dots. And no, but again, the whole thing of when you become, as I did 5 years ago when I became more enlightened, into this field of medicine, psychopharmacology, the friggin' clinicians, all this crap, and I mean, that, hopefully, fingers crossed, I mean, that will, be a kind of like a self-empowering experience, all right? And will, hopefully that will make you realize it's like, you can, grab the bull by the horn, so to speak, and reclaim your life. And you know how much I like to use the word slave. You don't have to be a slave, to this field of medicine, and it's I know there's no use rambling on about this, but that's why I just again, as I said, the days of complete trust ended 5 years ago for me, and if that makes me either delusional or paranoid or a combination of both, I couldn't give a crap. Okay, because what is far more significant is what you think of yourself, as opposed to a fucking clinician writing whatever they think you amount to on their friggin' notepads. Okay, and I got another prop here in addition to the cat. Because as I like to say, it's let me see if I can do this. It's a bunch of clinical bullshit, right? This is my clinical bullshit detection system. Okay.
That was bullshit.
See? I'll tell you. So. All right, so I think that's going to do it, believe it or not. There are other things I could say, but I'm not. So, all right, so I hope you took away something from this, like I said, of a positive note. As I like to say, I'm just trying to do my part to, blow this field of medicine right out of the water, okay? So, okay, and as always, feel free to comment, but no guarantees from the management that I'm going to reply, all right? Wink, wink. All right, so, thanks as always, and, all right, 38 minutes, that's enough. All right, so, bye. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.